Imagine you're standing in a crowded room and someone insults you right to your face in front of everybody. The tension immediately spikes. All eyes shift straight to you. They completely expect you to defend yourself, right? To raise your voice, snap back, and just utterly prove this person wrong. But instead, you simply pause. You look at them for a moment, and then quietly you turn and walk away. Now, to almost everyone watching that play out, it looks like weakness. They assume you've just lost the argument. But as we're going to see today, the psychology behind this interaction reveals something completely different and honestly incredibly fascinating. We're looking at the hidden psychology of silence and why emotionally intelligent people choose to simply walk away.
So this brings us to a massive psychological paradox. It's the central mystery we are unpacking today. Why on earth would someone willingly leave an argument they could easily win? It goes against literally all of our instincts. We're conditioned to believe that walking away means you've got nothing left to say, or that you're just admitting defeat. But here is the secret that emotionally intelligent people know. Walking away in these heated moments is actually a sign of supreme psychological strength. It's not about lacking confidence, and it's definitely not about lacking facts. It is entirely about how the human mind actually works when we're in the heat of conflict.
There's this brilliant psychological truth that I absolutely love, which states, the loudest person in the room isn't always the strongest. It's such a powerful reminder, isn't it? Often, the people who choose silence aren't the ones who are defenseless at all. They are the ones who deeply understand that not every single battle actually deserves their energy. The real answer to our puzzle today lies deep within the mechanics of our brains, and it proves that sometimes true strength is just choosing peace over pride.
Let's move into our first section, the crime scene, the brain under threat. To really understand the power of silence, we have to look at what is physically happening inside our heads when an argument breaks out. We really like to think that our arguments are these noble pursuits of truth and logic, right? We think, oh, we're just debating the facts. But psychology actually shows us that in reality, the vast majority of arguments are driven entirely by raw emotion. To get this, we have to look at the threat response. When someone feels criticized, rejected, or even just challenged in an argument, the brain basically smashes the panic button. In fact, studies show your amygdala can hijack your logical brain in less than a single second. And when that happens, it literally makes it harder to think clearly. The brain stops trying to solve a problem, and instead it frantically pivots to trying to protect your ego. This is exactly why you can bring the absolute strongest, most undeniable facts to a heated argument and still completely fail to change someone's mind. In that moment, logic has totally left the building.
Okay, let's dive into this, because this is where emotional intelligence really shines. Emotionally intelligent people intuitively understand this brain chemistry. They recognize when emotions have just taken over a room, and they know that pushing the conversation is only going to create more frustration. So they make a really distinct choice. They choose not to react, which, is impulsive and driven by a fragile ego trying to protect itself. Instead, they choose to intentionally respond. Walking away is that response. It's an act of intense self-control. They realize that every single time you have an impulsive emotional reaction, you're actively handing another person the power to influence your state of mind. They are choosing inner peace over an ego-driven reaction every single time.
Which brings us to section 2, the de-escalation protocol. People with really strong emotional regulation use a specific internal process to stop those intense feelings from hijacking their behavior. Here are the exact steps. Step 1, pause. Just stop. Step 2, breathe. And step 3, they ask themselves a remarkably simple grounding question. Will this argument actually matter tomorrow, next week, or even next year? And I really want you to think about that. Most of the time, the answer is a resounding no. And the second they realize that, the burning need to prove themselves just completely evaporates. They see the big picture, and they realize that walking away is choosing long-term peace over a super fleeting moment of temporary satisfaction. But you might be wondering, if this de-escalation protocol is so incredibly healthy and strong, why do so many people still view walking away as a failure? That perfectly brings us to section 3, the toxic conflict trap. And this brilliantly illustrates a deeply ingrained psychological trap that almost everyone falls into without even realizing it. Society has falsely conditioned us to equate silence with total surrender. We're basically taught that the winner is whoever yells the loudest, has the sharpest comeback, and gets the final word in the comments section of some random internet debate. It's a trap, but the key to escaping it is recognizing the underlying motivation. On one side, you have people seeking truth. They actually want answers and a real resolution. But on the other side, You have people seeking chaos. Some people do not argue because they want answers. They argue because they crave attention, they want control, and they desperately want the emotional satisfaction of pulling you right into their chaos.
Because here's the reality. The moment you react with anger, you step into their game. And trust me, it's a game they understand much, much better than you do. Emotionally intelligent people recognize this toxic pattern instantly. They see that the conflict isn't actually about the topic at hand at all. It's just about the other person needing an emotional reaction. So what do? They absolutely refuse to feed the conflict. They remove themselves, knowing that refusing to play is very often the only way to truly win. Now let's be very, very clear here. This does not mean avoiding every difficult conversation. Not at all. Emotionally intelligent people absolutely value meaningful discussion. When a relationship is healthy, they communicate openly and honestly. But they are absolute masters at spotting the difference between open communication and an endless battle. If someone is just twisting every word you say, flat out refusing to listen, and clearly only cares about being right, well, no amount of logic is going to change a mind that has already decided not to hear you. Walking away in that scenario isn't giving up on the person. It's refusing to sacrifice your peace for a journey that literally has no destination.
Moving right along to section 4, the heist, the invisible cost.
Let's move to and see how this builds, because every single unnecessary argument you engage in costs you something invisible, but highly, highly valuable: your mental energy. This is something we have all experienced. 1 minute after the argument ends, sure, the shouting stops, but it doesn't really end there, does it? 1 hour later, you're still in your head, pacing around, replaying the words, imagining much better, sharper responses you totally could have used. And a full day later, you are still carrying that heavy emotional weight into the rest of your life. The invisible cost of that conflict haunts you long, long after the actual conversation is over. So look at it this way. Emotionally intelligent people treat their attention like a precious currency. They choose to invest it in personal growth, meaningful relationships, and life goals that actually improve their lives. They know for a fact that their mental energy is way too valuable to bankrupt it on proving toxic strangers or critics wrong. They literally just refuse to carry emotions that simply don't belong to them. Which brings us to our final section, the power of quiet confidence. We really need to completely reframe how we measure confidence in our society. It is not measured by how thoroughly you can verbally defeat someone else. It's measured by how wisely you choose which battles actually deserve your voice and which ones deserve only your silence. The number one takeaway here is that walking away isn't losing. It is proof that you have gained the one singular, most powerful ability a person can possess: the ability to choose your own response instead of letting someone else dictate it for you. You are retaining absolute control over your own mind. Real confidence is quiet. The strongest people aren't the ones who can defeat everyone with clever words. They're the ones who know when words have entirely lost their purpose. True strength doesn't need external validation. It doesn't need applause, and it certainly doesn't need the last word. It simply rests in the quiet, unshakable knowledge that some people will never, ever understand your perspective, no matter how perfectly you explain it to them. And you know what? That is perfectly okay. So, the next time you find yourself being pulled into an unnecessary conflict and you feel that biological threat response kicking in, I want you to pause, take a breath, and ask yourself this one provocative question. Am I trying to protect my ego, or am I trying to protect my peace? Answering that honestly will completely change how you handle conflict moving forward. But more importantly, think about what you could accomplish with all that reclaimed mental energy. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.